So I assume we're live.
Yeah.
All right. Hey everybody. My name is Suzy, and I play Brigitte on Saturdays. And I'm super nervous about this. Cool. Thanks for the notification on my phone that we're live. Thanks, phone, for that. Um, so this week's Wednesday night DM chat is sort of a mixed bag. It's my experiences talking about playing D&D. So I first started playing D&D ooh, in high school in like the early 2000s. And my game started out, it was me and a bunch of other guys, literal guys, not like a mixed group. And we started playing at a comic book shop that I used to work at that no longer exists. So, um, when I first started playing, I was more interested in the monster manual. I was like, these are all pretty monsters. Oh my god, let me read all the stats and blah blah blah. I never really sort of got the game was never really sort of explained to me, and at that time it was 3-5, like like they were playing some like weird combination I think of like 3 and 3-5, and their whole thing was like we're gonna go to the nine hells and conquer it and be evil, and I was like that's fun. I'm gonna be here and be support or whatever. So it never really got fully explained to me. Um, Fast forward a couple of years to college when I actually, with a friend of mine who was a resident assistant with me in the same hall, at like senior year, we decided that you know what, we were going to run our own D&D game just as a one night thing because we had these arbitrary programs that we had to put on at least 5 a semester, and one of them had to be a social program. So our social program that we picked was D&D. So we went on Amazon. We got the Monster Manual, the Dungeon Master's Guide, the Player's Handbook, all used because we were cheap and broke, and it's what we could afford. So we one Sunday afternoon, we helped all these residents get together and we all played D&D. It did not go well at all. It was kind of terrible because we didn't plan very well. We had no idea what we were doing, but everybody had fun, and they're like, yeah, we should do this again. And we were like, yeah, totally. Never happened. So years later, I moved in with Andy, and I was at work one day and I got a text message, I believe from either Andy or Carolyn, who was our DM. Um, and they were like, hey, what are you doing this coming Saturday? And I was like, well, you're in luck. I'm off by some miracle of God. What do you want? They're like, do you want to come play D&D? And I was like, well, this is weird. Who all's playing? So they told me the players, and I was like, okay, you know what? I think I can handle that. Sure, I'll come over and I'll play. And, then suddenly, a couple months later, I've moved in with Andy, and suddenly now we have this sort of ongoing D&D thing where, like, some years it's me running a campaign, and now currently it's Carolyn running a campaign. So my first campaign that I actually ran was not one of the pre-built campaigns because I decided I wanted to do something different. And I was like, I'm going to do a homebrew campaign. It's going to be amazing. And everyone would love me. The problem with doing a homebrew campaign that I didn't realize at the time is that you have to do a lot of planning. You have to work out the economics of your world. You have to make sure that you have everything down. I did not. So that campaign ran for, I think, like probably about a year. We met once a month because that's what could fit in everybody's schedules at the time. And then eventually it sort of just died because I was like, I can't handle this anymore. Let me retool this and I'll bring it back. I did not do a very good job of retooling it. And one of I think my biggest downfall in this campaign is I did not do my homework like I was supposed to. I did not read the Dungeon Master's Guide. I did not do anything with the player's handbook. I I sort of opened a can of worms, and I said, yeah, you guys can play whatever you want. So rather than having like your standard basic playable races, suddenly we had stuff coming in from Eberron, and I was like, okay, I can totally handle this. Spoiler alert, I could not handle that. I think I got one good character storyline for one person, maybe for two people, and that was about it. I sort of shoved the characters together. I didn't really give them a good base to build off of. So at times it was extremely frustrating for them, I feel like, in character, because I didn't say, hey, I didn't give them that proper building base. I just said, you guys have known each other. Shove, go, have fun, play, my minions. And that did not work very well. So, one of the things that I sort of do like about Yon pre-built modules is that they do give you those adventure hooks. Something that I sort of, now that I am older and wiser, that I've had a chance to sort of read and research more, is there's different adventure hooks that you can get them in. It's not just shove party together, go. You know, that doesn't work. So, just this past couple of years has been like definitely a very good eye-opening and learning experience. Because towards the end of my last campaign, which was about 2 years ago now, I was just done. I was like tired of it. It wasn't fun. It was more work than I wanted to put in. I was putting it off a lot. I didn't do the justice to the characters that I thought I could have done. So, towards the end, it was not a very fun campaign, at least for me. I just wanted it to be done and over with. And so I was like, okay, this is your ending point. Have fun. Resolutions resolved. So eventually the players came up with sort of their own backstories as to what happened. Hello, tiny cat. Excuse me just a second. Marp. Oh, sorry. This one was going for the camera and I didn't want her to knock it over. Okay, bye. It was fun having you. Don't do that again, please. Thanks. So my advice, I guess, to new DMs would be to, first of all, read. Holy crap, read. Even if you're going to do a homebrew campaign. Hello, tiny cat. Can you not? Ugh, thanks for coming along. If you could just read, even if it's the Dungeon Master Guide, if it's the Player's Handbook, make sure you read and know exactly what you're sort of getting into and exactly what you've opened your world up to. Especially if you're not going to put limits on your players. So especially if you're like, sure, you can pull from wherever. You better make sure you have either of those materials read or you know what the heck you're talking about. The other thing I would definitely recommend is that you want to have this. I would definitely suggest doing a character building session of some sort. In the 2 campaigns I'm in right now, we did have at least one session devoted to doing character building and sort of figuring out how these characters have come together. So,
sorry.
Bless you. Are you done?
I am.
Okay. So definitely doing some sort of character building is very helpful. That's sort of a running theme that I've noticed in past games. We sort of, especially in the very first campaign we played in, is we didn't really have a character building session. I was just sort of thrown to the wolves. And they said, okay, here, you wake up in this inn, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know. What am I doing? They're like, well, it's your character, you need to figure out what you're doing. Awesome! This is not helpful. So, especially if you're going to have anybody in your group that is a new player, having a session 0 is very helpful. So that way you can sort of help them understand the mechanics of the game, understand, what your character should be like in quotation marks. Sort of help them figure out what their bonds and their flaws, what's their driving motivation, something. Um, so that would be my suggestion. So reading, character building, definitely two big suggestions that I would, not suggestions, but definitely two big things that you need to have. That, again, I sort of did a disservice to my players, I feel, when I was running a campaign. I would consider, me personally, I would definitely consider maybe doing another campaign again. Probably not a homebrew campaign. I would probably do a pre-built module because as much fun as it is to try and write my own thing, I'm sort of hesitant to do that again because, again, I did a disservice to my players. So I would want to sort of see what everyone else has created before I do that again. And again, there are pre-built modules that you can purchase either directly through Wizards, like Yon Lovely Curse of Strahd, or you can find things online through Drive-Thru RPG. People have put up online for free, various other places.
DM's Guild.
Yep. What is it? DM's Guilds?
DM's Guild.
DM's Guild, that's another one. So definitely find, even if you don't, again, use it like a pre-built module, if you're going to build your own thing, make sure you have your world down. Know how your economics work, know what races are available, know who lives what where, those sorts of things. That's about all I got for that right now. Any questions, Andy?
Yeah.
Questionnaire person.
As a DM, what inspired you to write the campaign you did write?
So, sort of what inspired me to write this campaign is, it started out as I sort of wanted to have I wanted to have a party of, hopefully, fingers crossed, it was non-traditional characters. And I sort of wanted them to feel like they were making a change in the world. That sort of changed a little bit after the election of 2016, because the world I had put them in was sort of like I felt like it was a downing and depressing world, and then it was sort of and then current politics were sort of reflecting in on that with a change between the administrations. So it was just like, oh, this terrible thing's happening. Cool. I'm using this as an escape mechanism. Why did I do this? And I really couldn't find like that lighthearted, happy medium. So, but that's sort of why I wrote that first campaign, was to sort of try and get that non-traditional party and make them feel like they're making a change in the world. And it sort of worked out. They did what they wanted to accomplish within the world, and they ultimately got to their end goal. It just, towards the end of it, it just wasn't fun for me anymore. Anything else that's popped in?
What pre-made modules do you like?
Well, I have a problem, and it's called Curse of Strahd. I'm a bit of a goth kid at heart, and the fact that I do like that sort of dark, depressing, gothic style world. Hello, tiny cat. So when we got and I always knew Curse of Strahd was a thing, and I sort of always wanted to play it because I'm 12, really, and I love vampires. So, when October came around 2 years ago, I sort of prodded Carolyn, and I was like, hey, you know what we should play? We should play Curse of Strahd. We should play Curse of Strahd. This is a one-shot. We could totally do it. And Carolyn was like, can you calm down? I will buy the book, and we will look at it. So, like, 2 years later, it was not a one-shot. Or actually, a year later, it was not a one-shot. It definitely ran for a year, and we got to meet Strahd, and we got to beat him up, and it was fun.
And we fucked him up.
We fucked him up a lot. Carolyn made the mistake of giving us a lot of NPCs to go with our party.
I did.
She gave us 3 NPCs. We had Esmeralda, we had Vladimir Horngard and his husbando Godfrey, and Esmeralda, and then we of course had like one of the things that you can get in the book is the holy symbol of Ravenkind, which does bad things to undead things. And then we also had Yon Lightsaber of Sunlight, the Sun Sword, which got summoned out and immediately like smashed the shit out of him. So that was amazing and wonderful. So the big bad villain was sort of like smashed to pieces in a matter of rounds, and we were like, well, I guess we're burning this place down afterwards. It was kind of fun because in game we were sort of like we're gonna start a tavern just for adventurers, and it's called we're just gonna have having a place where adventurers can come and just relax, and no quest will be given at this tavern. Anybody who comes in who has a quest giver will be like shot on sight or something. Our characters were like 5,000% done with Barovia by the time we were done with Strahd, so it was kind of fun. But yeah, Curse of Strahd right now is my favorite pre-built module. Although there is, I have heard stories of the second edition version of Tomb of Annihilation, which I would kind of almost like to run because it's so mean and it's literally designed to murder your players. But I would like to introduce the option of a save point, so that way it's not like, oh, you're insta-dead. It's more like, oh, okay, oh, you're just going to return back to the save point and you know exactly what happened and how you died. You want to continue doing that. So that's another module I'd like to run. I think that's about it for my modules that I would like to run. Next question.
What monsters besides vampires do you love?
What monsters? I really like... again, because I'm 12, I really love dragons. And I really loved 3E's sort of divisions of the dragons. The chromatic versus the metallic dragons. Personally, I am very fond of the gold and silver dragons. But I did like the thing that they sort of introduced in 4, and I believe also in 5 a little bit, but definitely 4, where they removed sort of the alignments for the dragons, removed in quotation marks, is they sort of just said, they're not always this alignment, but typically they are this alignment. Oh, black dragons. I love black dragons too because they're creepy. What other monsters do I love? Again, 12. I like the Pegasus. I like unicorns.
That nightmare.
Oh, the nightmare horses are great too. They are wonderful.
Unicorns.
I already said unicorns.
Oh, did you? I missed that part.
It's what happens when you're paying attention to the chat and not me. God, I know where I stand in my life.
I'm paying attention. I just did. They went in one ear and out the other, apparently.
Fail. I'm hurt. Really hurt. I really like the monsters that are also sort of that are mostly taken from our world. So like you're looking at sphinxes, the Andro and the Gyno sphinxes. Andro meaning male, Gyno meaning female. And I do love in 3.5 when they had their Draconomicon, sort of all the weird variations of dragons you could come out of. Like, there was a weird fairy dragon, there was like some weird horse dragon thing, and it's like, wow. Dragons fucked a lot of shit, man. Like, seriously.
The Zeus of the fantasy world.
Basically, that's what they eventually turned into. It's like, can you keep it in your pants, man? Apparently not. Next question.
What is your favorite race and class individually, and what's your favorite combo?
Ooh. So, again, because I'm 12, I have a thing for dragons. So, in a 4E campaign, I was a dragonborn paladin, red dragonborn paladin, named Kiva, because she could breathe fire, and I like setting things on fire. In Curse of Strahd, I was a again, a black dragonborn monk named Asif, who is dumb as rocks. Currently, I am playing Brigitte, who is a half elf fighter, and then in another campaign, I am playing Titania, who is also a human fighter. I seem to like to punch things a lot, so I'm gonna go, and I like to aggro things. So right now, I'm gonna stick with fighter. Right now is probably my favorite. And that because I like the fact that in 5e you can have different subclasses. I don't think we ever got to that in 4e. So Paladin would have to probably be my... No, actually, no, Monk is going to be my second fave. So Fighter first, then Monk. Although, I will have to say, in terms of race, I do like being a half-elf because I have dark vision, and humans don't have that, and neither do Dragonborns. So being able to see in the dark is super helpful. I kind of like playing, I think, Brigitte the best right now, because she can, in the last session, I don't know if you haven't seen it yet, Brigitte pretty much, I don't want to say one-shots a Manticore, but she one-shots a Manticore. Like, she uses her reaction, just murders it, and it's beautiful. Sword right up the throat. It's great. Anyways, you should watch the last episode if you haven't, because it's great. Spoiler alert.
What's your favorite D&D moment as a player, and what's your favorite as a DM?
As a DM, I have to say that the homebrew campaign that I was running, I really, this is so stupid. I hadn't planned very well, as most sessions were going, so I didn't think of a name for this one detective. So I was like, yeah, and you guys meet Detective, we'll figure his name out later. And then they all went, Baguette! And it just stuck. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure, you guys are meeting with Detective Baguette, because I am a poor planner and I will let this decision stay. And then the next person that they met, who was like his captain, his name was Captain Christini, because again, I didn't plan. So we had Detective Baguette and Captain Christini. And that will forever remain in my heart as like the best D&D moment thus far as a DM. As a player, I think my personal favorite is in Curse of Strahd. We were in Valaki at the Burgomaster's house, and a couple of people had gone upstairs to sort of go interrogate the Burgomaster, and a couple of us remained downstairs. So we hear this knock at the door, and we're like, who the fuck's knocking at the door? We just instigated a rebellion. Like, who politely knocks at the door? And we open the door, and it's Strahd. And Asif's just like, we don't want any, and shuts the door in his face. So I think that's my favorite thus far. Asif was very dumb and beautiful. Actually, tied for a moment with... we were traveling on the road outside of the Vistani camp, going to Valaki, and we come across a revenant, and he's like getting ready to attack us, and Asif's just like, hello friend, my name is Asif, what's yours? And the revenant's just like, I don't have a name, and Asif's just like, cool, it's now Fred. How are you, Fred? Later on, when we meet up with the rest of them, he proceeds to name all of them Fred, because Asif is a friendly guy. Asif was dumb and I loved him. Gonna bring him back again.
Why do you like the chromatic dragons?
The chromatic dragons? Because they sparkle. Because I'm 12. I really like the designs. I really like the design best on the silver dragon, I think. I like the fact that they crest, and it's not like... to me, it doesn't feel like it's a traditional, like, dragon face, because they have that sort of hooked beak type thing that goes on the front of their face. Let me just do this repeatedly, because that totally works. We're gonna have to explain that, too.
No, we don't.
No, we don't, actually. Let's not. That will forever be the inside joke of that campaign.
Oh, bless.
And then I also do like the Gold Dragon the best. The Gold Dragon design, anyways, because of the way that their wings are designed, and you don't really see that in the metallic dragons. You just really see that sort of in the chromatic dragons.
Okay. What advice do you have for new players?
Don't be a dick. That's like literally my first rule is don't be a dick. I have played in a campaign where, or sort of in a one-shot campaign where, not a one-shot campaign, but the first sessions of my first introduction with D&D is that they weren't all like intentionally trying to be a dick. They were trying to just move the story along, but they were not helping me understand what was happening, so they came across as a dick. So for new players, or for experienced players anyways, don't be a dick to your new players, and new players, don't be a dick to your experienced players. If you are having trouble understanding something, ask questions. Hey, what does this role do? Hey, what do I add to this? Also, make sure you are taking notes for new players. You want to make sure that you are aware of just at least NPCs that you encounter. Sorry, the larger cat's being a douche. That's right, just pick her up by the butt. It's fine. No, she can't. So make sure you are taking notes. Your DM has worked very hard on these sessions. / somebody developed these modules for you, and you should probably at least pay attention to the people you meet and not just call them random nicknames without at least first knowing their name. So don't be a dick. Take good notes. And I mean, you do want to play true to your character, but there is a sort of line that you can cross, and try to stay as true to your character as you can without sort of crossing that line of I'm going to be a complete and total ass and fuck the party. So, yeah, don't be a dick.
What's your favorite riddle or puzzle challenge that you've created as a DM or encountered as a player yourself?
Oh my god. So, as a DM, I put my players in a trap house. A house full of traps. Yes, if you can hear the exasperated sighs from Andy, that house was a bitch. One of the traps was that I found...
We had no magic users in the magic house!
That was another problem, is I didn't plan very well. And I was like, yeah, let's put magic traps in a magic house. What do you mean there's no magic person here this week? Well, y'all are fucked. And, yeah, I didn't adjust at all. So, that was my fault. But one of the traps that I found online, it was actually on a Reddit thread, and it was basically a very obvious trap. It was a very obvious bear trap. And basically what would happen is if you disarmed the trap, a bear would fall down from the ceiling. So I made it a dire koala bear. And I just gave it the stats of a grizzly bear. Because that was easy. Don't
you dare.
Sorry, the tiny cat's being a douche. As you know, most cats are. So, that was probably my personal favorite trap that I created in quotation marks, was the drop bear. So, of course, them being the intelligent party that they are, they disarmed the trap. They're like, it's an obvious trap, duh, let's just disarm it. And the bear fell. And then they had to fight the bear. It was great. For me, anyways. And then what was the other one, the best trap that we've encountered as...
That you've encountered as a player.
As a player? No, the YMCA thing, I don't want to say you're fired for, but damn, son. So Andy put us through a one-shot campaign for a murder mystery house, and recently, actually.
Murder at Moonville, you can watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, we posted it. And she put a trap in there for basically we had to do the YMCA to a piano version of the YMCA. Yeah, that was pretty. She's not fired for that, but man, she's got a warning. Although to be fair, I'm totally fired for the trap house, so I can't say shit.
So what was your actual favorite one? Because it wasn't the YMCA.
In character, that was really frustrating. Out of character, looking back on it, it's super funny.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
It's absolutely hilarious to think about. All of us being like, I don't understand. In character being like, I don't understand what these motions mean. I also do like the
Return viewer.
And the ice cream.
The ice cream shoot was pretty funny. In character, it's terrifying, but out of character, when you're looking back on it, you're like, damn, that was hilarious. The other one was we did another one-shot campaign in January, and it was basically you had to put these letters in the right order. My God, we are dumb as adults because we're like, I don't understand what this spells. I don't understand what this spells. We can't figure it out. And so, like, Andy had to give us, like, 27 hints.
You want to know the worst part about it?
What?
She technically told me the fucking answer when she was telling me about it with her family, and I forgot.
My 12-year-old niece figured it out in 14 seconds.
And a group of, like, 30-year-old adults can't be like, I don't understand what these letters mean. I can't put them together. It was great. It was absolutely wonderful. So what's really great is the puzzles that will make you reconsider your life and the American education system after doing that. And what's really sad is like I really love like these terrible puzzle games that I play on the Xbox and or on your iPad. And like so they have puzzles like that where it's like, oh yeah, you have to rearrange the words and like spell things out. Yeah, I could do that on the iPad, but suddenly looking at it in person, I'm like, I've forgotten what English means and what these strange symbols are. What do you mean I know English? Whatever. Yo hablamos español, y'all. That's not how you actually say it. Anyways.
Please don't actually quote me on Spanish.
I can do my burrito order in Spanish, though.
You're getting very proficient at that.
I'm getting very proficient at ordering a burrito in Spanish. They're yelling at me every day. It's great. Next question, if we have any.
Yeah. So if you play in another game, what would you be?
Probably aggro mage. I really want to be able. So it's terrible, but like in like the Dragon Age games, my favorite thing to do is to play a mage, and I will go run up and I will start the fight, and then my party has to join me. So I kind of want to do that, but in D&D I know I will die because there are real life repercussions. Whereas opposed in Dragon Age, if my character dies, I just switch to another character, depending on your version of Dragon Age that you're playing. I kind of want to play an aggro mage. Some sort of like spell sword or hex blade or something. So I think if I get the opportunity to do it, fingers crossed, hex blade. That's my plan. I think I would also probably expand out my race options too, rather than just being human variant of some sort. Maybe play. They opened up some new races, didn't they?
Like centaurs.
Oh, that'd be great. The centaur hexblade charges at you in battle. What do you do? What? Yeah, I think I'll do something weird. I'll do something out there, like a centaur or a Goliath or something. Something tall. I like being tall because I'm short.
Favorite games or books that have inspired your characters?
Ooh. Oh God. Games definitely. I like Dragon Age, as I mentioned. Favorite games. I also really do like the Legend of Zelda series. I got my boyfriend hooked on it. You're welcome back. I also found myself really sort of falling in love with Fallout 4. So anytime I try and build a character, I try to sort of build it not based off of me. Are you okay over there? Are you dying?
Just watching
All right.
curiously type.
furiously typing .tumblr.com. But yeah, I definitely do like the Dragon Age series the best. I think BioWare has done a really good job with their storytelling in their games. So, yeah, every time I build a character, it's sort of I find myself I'm not able to go towards like the evil route. Like I can't go that direction. Like I usually always stick with good because I am a marshmallow person and I like being nice to people because it gets you more stuff occasionally. So yeah, I think pretty much all of my characters are always going to be good of some variety. I don't think I could ever do true neutral. They're always going to be good. Yeah, true neutral's a bitch.
What was your most immersive experience playing a D&D game? What would you say was the reason that you felt so into it? Props, storytelling, familiarity with the setting, what?
Because I have a problem!
I knew it!
I really, again, because I researched a ton out of Curse of Strahd when I was younger. Because again, I was obsessed with vampires and I have a problem. So my 12-year-old self is super excited right now that we got to play Curse of Strahd. And technically I'm also playing Curse of Strahd again with my boyfriend. But he's the DM and I am yet again a Dragonborn monk. Because I don't have a problem.
Is your name Asif?
No, actually, her name is Sif. She is a, because I've only played one game with her thus far, because I know the storyline, so I'm trying so hard not to metagame in that campaign. But her name is Sif, and she is a Way of the Sun Soul monk, so she's going to basically go Super Saiyan at some point. What was the question? I forgot. I got distracted.
What was your most immersive experience?
What was my most immersive experience?
Like, when were you the most into the game?
Again, probably, I really like what Carolyn does with her DMing stuff, and that she, like, especially when we were playing Curse of Strahd, it was like, okay, especially that first game, it's like, okay, we're going to turn off the lights, and we're going to be all creepy about this.
And that lasted for all of like 2 seconds.
That lasted seriously all of 2 seconds, but it was great. Also that one shot that you did for Bluebeard's Bride.
Oh yeah.
God.
Mm-hmm.
So we played this game called Bluebeard's Bride, which is based off the Fate system. Is that what right?
I don't remember.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
It's based off some system. I don't know.
Apocalypse Now system.
The what?
Apocalypse Now.
Apocalypse Now system. That's what it is. So Bluebeard's Bride, based on the Apocalypse Now system. Andy purchased it as part of a Kickstarter, and we played that. Oh my God. Great experience. Don't ever want to repeat it. Because, I mean, it's not necessarily like it's an unwinnable situation, but you know, like, if you know the story of Bluebeard's Bride, then you're like, well, I was fucked in this. Because basically you're all playing different aspects of the same person, and that was also fairly immersive. What really sort of helps me be very immersed into a situation is with either like background music, noise, like some like ambient noises. Sometimes you don't even have to play them very loudly. Music is definitely a very big part of my life. It's sort of how I help build my characters. That'll be a topic for the next thing. Like lighting, music, noises, that definitely helps me get into a situation or a game in a session. Going back to characters really quick, sort of also how I help build my characters is since music plays a really big part of my life, I find it really hard to just drive 5 minutes in the car with no music or without some sort of sound going on. Like, I'm a very auditory person. So usually what I do is I also build a playlist for a character to sort of help me get into the mood and sort of help me get into their mindset. Like, Titania has 2 playlists, her character playlist and then like what she would listen to on her daily basis. Same thing with Brigitte. She has 2 playlists. She has the playlist of her of her, basically her prologue up until the session, and then and then her daily playlist, which I will listen to, if I remember anyways. I will listen to either like the day before the session or the day of the session, just to be like, okay, this is Brigitte, this is how we're doing this.
Yeah, that'd probably be a fun topic for maybe next week.
Yes, fun topic for next week. How to build your characters, sort of. Any other questions that have popped up so far? Any other comments that I should know about? Hilariousness? Weirdness?
No, so far we're good. Do you have any closing thoughts or things to share? Pearls of wisdom?
Pearls of wisdom, read. Good God. If somebody tells you, hey, you should probably look into doing this thing, definitely take their advice to heart and go look into said thing and possibly read said thing. Like Carolyn told me to when I was first trying to do my homebrew campaign, and I didn't, because I was lazy. Also, don't be a lazy DM if you can.
I mean, there are good ways to be a lazy DM.
Yes.
We'll go over that in another video.
Yeah. Good ways to be a lazy DM, and bad ways to be a lazy DM. I will be the bad example. It's fine. If you do, like, again, if as a DM, if you're not feeling a session, or if you need some help planning a session, feel free to ask your players and just say, hey guys, I'm struggling with this session. What do you want to see come up? Like, are there topics you want to stay away from? Is there a place you'd like to explore? We can find a reason for you guys to go there, you know, whatever. I guess that's about it. Don't be a dick. Read. Be nice. And, yeah, that's about all I got.
Can you do to tell them when our next game is?
Yes, our next game, let me check my calendar because I forgot. It's not this weekend, but it's next weekend.
Correct.
June
It's
2nd?
June 2nd. Starting at noon Eastern time, because not Pacific, because we're in Georgia. Anyway, so yeah, it's going to be Saturday, June 2nd at noon. So tune in if you can. We'd be more than happy to have you along for the crazy ride of whatever we're going to call this thing. Tales from Cyril.
That's what we're calling it.
That's what we're calling it, apparently.
And we'll be here next week.
Yes, we will be here next week.
Same time, same place, talking about...
Same time, same bat channel, talking about stuff.
D&D related stuff.
D&D
Building
related
characters.
stuff.
We just had this discussion.
So next week we're going to talk about building characters. I'm sorry, our director's having a meltdown right now because we can't remember shit.
It's alright, it's fine.
Hashtag this is fine.
No one's taking notes right now.
That's what happens when you let the PCs run, man. That's what happens when you let the player characters run everything. Anyways, I bid you all good night. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, and stay safe.